Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now. Let's start with that. Let's start with your professional debut, man. It's a big moment for a lot of people. The first thing I noticed is that when you were an amateur, towards the end of your amateur career, you fought at middleweight. Why did you decide to like hop up to light heavyweight?
Oh, I was always middleweight, but that last pro fight, he was heavy,
Oh, okay.
and so he wasn't gonna make it to 185, and so we just did the furthest that we could, from where he was when we got that
Mhm.
contract. But yeah, he
Yeah,
wasn't
how
gonna
do you
make
feel about
185.
that?
About him not making weight,
Yeah, yeah.
no, that pissed me off. I just, for it to be a professional debut, I just expected, both parties to be professional, right? And
Mhm.
he missed weight and he didn't want to do anything to like lose weight either. Once they told him, he was just like, "Oh no, well, I'm gonna just stay here." I'm just like, "Oh, all right. Well, that's kind of like a slap in the face. Like you're already not from here for one, and then two, you don't want
Yeah.
to try to accommodate the actual promotion that's paying you. So that kind of sent a weird vibe. Like I'm not gonna lie, at first I was real apprehensive and like nervous, like, oh, it's pro debut, like this is all real, this
Mhm.
is real. But then once he didn't want to like try to lose it, like if he had he been like, yeah, and then like went outside and like ran for 10 minutes, I'm like, oh, at least he tried. But he didn't
Mhm.
try at all. He was just like, no, I don't want to. And I was like, damn. Well, now I gotta, you know what I'm saying? Now this is no longer me being nervous. It's like this is you disrespected me, so now I have to
Yeah,
take care of you. You know?
yeah. And well, you did. You took care of him real quick, man. Like I don't think I've
Yeah,
ever
I
seen
hate that
anybody.
fight, man. I hated that fight so much
Why? Why?
because I didn't get a chance to really like display all of what I've been working on since that
Mhm.
fight previous. And so it was just like I thought he was gonna want to stand and trade, and that's what he was talking about when the fight promotion. I mean, the fight week was happening, and everybody was posting videos and whatnot. It sounded like he wanted to sit there and be a striker and trade. It's like I threw one punch and he fucking shot. I was like, God damn it! And then I just spammed my right hand. All I did was spam square. I didn't really enjoy that fight that much.
Well, at least you got out of it without any injuries or anything like that, and you got to finish. That's what it counts at the end of the day, a win.
Yeah, and, you got to look at the bigger picture. You can't
Yeah.
always be so entangled emotionally. But yeah,
Mhm.
bigger picture. Yeah, we got a 34-second win, no damage.
Mhm.
Took some of his purse, so that felt good.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I was like, "Oh, you missed weight. I take your money, and I get to beat you up."
Yeah.
And he went to the ER because he had
What?
dislocated the shoulder, so he had a bill.
Damn.
He had a healthcare bill from America.
Yeah. That's not a good one. That's not good.
No, man. He came to America and lost money.
Yeah, definitely. Well, coming out of that, I've spoken to many fighters that feel the same way as you a lot of times after they win fights. It's like, man, I won, but in their mind, it's like, I didn't really win because I didn't get to show what I expected to show throughout the camp. You work on all these things. Like you said, you work on all these things and you want to go out there and prove yourself. And it's more about yourself, right? It's not really about like the
Yeah,
crowd and all that.
yeah, for sure. I don't even think about the crowd when I'm fighting. Honestly, like a lot
Mhm.
of people get mad at me because my fights have ended so quickly, and they're just like, "You got to make these last longer, man. I'm spending all this money on these tickets." I'm like, "Man, forget that." I was like, "Who's to say I get knocked out because you want a longer fight? Forget that. I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible, so you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying. I can enjoy the rest of the shows with you guys.
Mhm.
You didn't just buy a ticket to see me. You came for the whole show. It just so
Yeah.
happens that I was the person you really wanted to see."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, after that, like what was your like what were you doing after that? Were they set on putting you on the next show, UFL 5, or did you have to wait a little bit around? What was your schedule looking like?
I honestly, I went back to camp. I went back into the
Mhm.
gym that following Monday. Like I was,
Mhm.
I wasn't pleased with the win. I was like, man, we got to go back to work. And so I honestly didn't know when we were going to fight again, but I just was like, I need to make sure that I'm ready for whenever they do call us. And they ended up
Mhm.
calling us for this fight, and I was like, whoa. I was like, dude, I'm only 1-0. What you mean you want me to represent Phoenix? I was like,
Yeah.
and I talk about, like I said, like I'm humble, but sometimes I downplay myself too much. It's like
Mhm.
there's a ton of guys in Arizona who have more substantial record
Mhm.
that you could possibly put on the card to fight for this, but the fact that they saw enough in me at 1-0
Mhm.
to go and represent Phoenix, that set it off for me. It's just like you're exactly where you need to be.
Yeah, yeah, man. They got you, and they got a good opponent. Much more experienced than you are. What do you think of Trent Miller?
Honestly, not much, and I don't want to say
Mhm.
that like I'm cocky or anything. It's just I've watched all of his film, like
Mhm.
all of it. Like I've never done that before with any of my previous fights. I was just like, it is what it is. But with this guy being 5-1, I took that serious. This is we're pros now, so the one, there's money involved. Two, your record's involved, and with guys not wanting to fight me, who have the same kind of caliber or record as I do, it's like now you
Mhm.
kind of have to be, your name, the bounty hunter. You have to put up or shut up. Like there's guys who 5-1 want to fight. You can't say no to that. Like you don't have room to say no. We're trying to build our name, and so I was ecstatic that they got me someone who's 5-1 because now it's just like I have the stage is set, the opponent is
Mhm.
there. Now all I have to do is just show out, you know, and it's going to be me 1-0 beating the 5-1 guy.
Yeah, sometimes those quick finishes and like those violent finishes, they can be a curse as well as a gift.
Man, I thought they were so cool when I first started, but then like when we started having trouble getting matchmaking, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, no. Even when we started going pro and like money was involved, there are people still
Yeah.
saying no. I was like, dude, like you're turning down a check? I was like, what are we doing? And so yeah, that's definitely true. I thought that quick finishes would be like he's the man, but like matchmaking wise, it's a headache.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah,
don't I don't regret it, not one bit.
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. You gotta have those, man. You gotta have that highlight reel. Those are memories right there. That will last forever in time.
I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a fun time. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah,
the time I'm here, we're gonna make it fun for sure.
yeah, yeah. And UFL, they got you on Team Phoenix. It's led by Henry Cejudo. How do you have you spoken to him? Like, what's the situation of like communications between the team and stuff like that?
So pretty much the whole the whole 5v5 or my team is pretty much all fight ready, and then
Mm-hmm.
me, and that's where Henry trains at. So he's probably in deep deep conversations with his guys, but I've only
Yeah.
seen him the 2 days we had to do filming for the promotion for this. So like he hasn't talked to me, I haven't talked to him,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but I don't think that really matters, because at the end of the day, he's not my coach. He's not with me training every day, and so I just feel like what my coaches have to say are going to kind of be a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? They're going to weigh a little heavier than what he's going to tell me, just because he's only seen me maybe 3 hours in total.
Yeah.
And so, not to say he's not a good coach, or I'm not happy that he's
Yeah.
my coach or my corner, or anything like that. No, because he helped me with grappling the one day he came
Mhm.
while we were filming. We were doing pummeling, and I was pummeling while trying to stay in distance. And he was like, "You got to kind of
Mhm.
get in close and bump him off, and then get that pummel in." And that was something
Mhm.
that I could apply like right there. And so the fact that he was able to give insight on something that he was seeing like right there, I think that would be important as far
Yeah.
as this guy Trent. He's been winning all his fights by knockout, like me.
Mhm.
But he's not going to want to stand with me. I'm pretty sure he's going to want to try to take me down. And having someone like that with, wrestling background in my corner, I think that would be, tremendous to have in my ear should it go to the ground. I don't plan on it going to the
Mhm.
ground, believe me. Well, at least not me with him. He's going to go to the ground,
Yeah.
but not me with him. So, but yeah, I think that'd be cool. But like as far as us contacting each other, I haven't really talked to him really.
Well, like I'm pretty sure he's seen what you can do, and then he's just like, all right, maybe we let his coaches take care of him because he's probably gonna handle his business no matter what.
Absolutely. I'm the ace in the hole right now, so to
Mhm.
speak. Because this is a point based. So, fast finishes
Yeah,
are highly favored in this fight. And so I'm got nothing but fast ones.
yeah. And the money too. Your team wins the
Oh yeah.
money.
Man, I
Tremendous.
was beating people up for free, man. You gonna give me you want 10 G's? I'm telling you, man. I'm about to be on X Games mode this Friday, man.
X
10
Games.
G's straight up X Games mode. From as soon as the
Yeah,
fucking walkout song starts to the end of the night, I'm on X Games mode.
yeah, yeah. And also I saw that the UFL gives you guys like health insurance and shares in the company. That's interesting, man.
I think that's major. I'm
Mhm,
not too. I don't care too much about the shares or whatever. I'm not really into
mhm,
ETFs and all that, whatever it
mhm.
is. I don't know too much about it, so I'm not into it. But as
Yeah,
far as health insurance goes, like that's important, man,
yeah.
because like we're banging and we're in training camp most of the year, and we get bumps and bruises, and sometimes there's things that we may need to go get looked at, and to pay that out of pocket is expensive sometimes, man. But to be under health insurance for the promotion who's like taking care of you, I
Yeah.
feel like that's just like a big hug almost. Like it makes you feel like you're taken care of, so to speak, rather than
Mhm.
just like, we're just gonna end up paying this guy whatever, and that'll be it.
Yeah, it's hard to like fathom that fighters are like going through their career without health insurance. You know what I mean? Like the bills must be crazy. Like they're breaking their hands, orbital bone, like there's injuries all the time.
Yeah, man. That's what I was like. Shirzad, man. I'm sure he didn't
Yeah.
have health insurance coming out, coming out here.
Uh,
But yeah, no, for sure. Like, but that just also makes me kind of like more cognizant in the way I train. Like, I'm not gonna go and balls to the wall all the
mhm,
time. Like, you got to know when to go 100% and when to like to taper it off. Like when Zuckerberg was supposed to be fighting, he blew his knee up. I was
mhm,
telling people like that's somebody who doesn't train. He went balls to the wall
yeah,
his whole camp. You can't do that. Like you have to find time to like taper off and
yeah,
like allow your body to like, I wouldn't say rejuvenate, but like get back into the flow of things. If you're just beating it up, beating it up, beating it up, what do you expect to happen? It's gonna fall apart eventually. And so the recovery is important, but yeah, this health insurance, man, that's just major because then I feel like you can kind of go balls to the wall because like
mhm,
I got this taken care of. Like I can go get my stuff looked at without having to worry about, I gotta take a credit card out to pay for a fucking hand to get
yeah,
my
yeah,
hand looked at or something.
yeah. Fighters get in debt with that stuff, man. It's
Yeah, it's
it's
like
a
college, man. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Crazy. And you mentioned the team, man. Like who are your coaches and the guys that have been getting you ready for this fight coming up?
So I got my three main coaches. We have Jay Pages. He's the owner of our gym. He's my jujitsu instructor, and he has done a lot of Muay Thai with me as well coming up. And then I have my main striking coach, Doug Christophus. He's with me like all the time. So like pretty much all of what you see is pretty much Doug. So I started off just like everyone knows, keep your stance the way a stance is supposed to look, left, right, left, right. Don't switch your stance if you don't have anything to throw out of it. That's how I was taught. But as I got better, they gave me kind of a little bit of leeway with certain things. And so like now my stance isn't as straightforward. It's a little bit bladed. Whereas other
Mhm.
guys who come to our gym, they don't let them stand like that. But they're like, oh, well, he can do that. It was like, well, he's a professional fighter.
Yeah.
And then I have my Muay Thai instructor, Chuck, and I started with Muay Thai, and now that I'm a pro, being able
Mhm.
to throw elbows and knees to the head, I just feel like, oh man, like amateur, I was handicapped, man. I was knocking people out while handicapped. And
Mhm.
so now that I can throw knees and elbows to the head with being a Muay Thai base, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm about to rip the gates off of this, man.
Yeah, man. Those elbows and knees make a huge difference, especially in the clinch.
Especially with wrestlers.
Yeah,
Especially with
yeah,
wrestlers.
yeah,
Well, you go ahead and
yeah.
shoot. Turn into a
Yeah.
TED dispenser.
Oh yeah, like what was your foundation, man? Like what did you start with? Like did you start straight
Muay
with
Thai.
MMA? Oh, Muay Thai. Okay.
No, it was Muay Thai. Yeah, I
Okay.
was doing USMTO for a while,
Mm,
and then I had lost my first fight due to a technicality. I didn't
mm,
understand the rules,
mm,
and so the ref was like barking at me because I had my mouthpiece hanging out, and so like I thought it was a timeout, and so like I kind of like
mm.
squatted in front of him while he was yelling at me, and he gave me a standing 8 count, and so that shifted the whole card, and I was like, whoa! I was like, what do you mean? I was like, you couldn't just tell
Well,
me to stand up? Like, why'd you give me an eight
mm,
count? And so I lost that fight. And so after that, I was just kind of like weirded out by the whole, I
mm,
have to pay you to enter this tournament and then I can possibly win a belt that I pretty much paid for.
Yeah.
And so I didn't like that. And so I was like, man, if we're gonna fight, let's do it as close to a real fight as we can. I don't want to wear headgear. I don't want to wear shin guards. And so Jay, he was like, well, you don't grapple, dude. Like, you're gonna need a grapple if you want to do MMA. I was like, nah, I'll be alright. I'll just knock everybody out. And so he was like, come to jujitsu. And so I
Yeah.
went to jujitsu, and I was getting choked out for like 7 months. I was like, oh my god. And he was like, yeah, so this is why you need to grapple. And so I've been stuck.
Yeah.
I actually like grappling more than I like striking now. Like,
Mm.
I'll after a fight, I'll go on like these little weird benders where like I won't strike for like 3 or 4 months. I'll just go straight back to grappling just because like that's where I'm weakest at, and I feel like it's more entertaining to try to learn something that I'm not good at rather than trying
Mm.
to get more proficient at something that I am good at.
Yeah, yeah, for
But
sure, man. Like when I started jiu-jitsu, I was getting choked out for a year, man. Like first year, I was doing defense only, like because I was training with like all blue belts, brown belts, and black belts, and I was like the only white belt in there. I was just like,
that's
yo, I
exactly me.
seen,
I just jumped into comp class.
I see so many people come in and quit after like 2 weeks because that's it was just hardcore in there in the gym.
Yeah, man, you gotta let go of that ego for sure. That ego
Yeah,
gets beat out of you quick.
yeah, yeah.
Man, I'm telling
But
you, I
after
feel like
that
the
year,
Steven
man,
Seagal extra.
yeah, 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 yeah. Stevie got extra. Oh
Just getting
shit.
shit whipped everywhere, bro. By people who are
Yeah.
smaller than me too. It's just like, man, I'm like 6'4", 220 at the time.
Mm,
And I would be getting choked out by guys who are like 5'8", 150. I'm just like, what
yeah,
the no. Put your gloves
yeah.
on. Come on.
Yeah, you got like little spider monkeys all over you and shit. That's what it
Yeah,
is,
little
those little
schmeagles, man.
dudes. Yeah. So, when you like sit back and like think about fights, do you envision fights or do you just like look at a fight like anything else and you just like let it happen? What do you see?
So I got good at astral projecting. So like I'll see
Okay.
myself losing a fight, as many possibilities as I can. And
Mhm.
then I'll just know like, okay, that's one way that we can't lose. And so after I've gone through all the losses that I can go through, I start thinking about all the ways that I can win. And so then once we start, but while I'm astral projecting, like if I don't know who the opponent is, it's just like a blob that's in front of me. I'm just like fighting a blob every night when I go to sleep. But then once face offs happen and I get to see the guy in front of me, I'll have that last night of sleep where I'm actually fighting him, but I actually see him, like his build, all of that. And so
Mhm.
then by the time we actually fight, I've already fought you like 100 times already in my head. And so like the
Okay.
nerves are gone. It's like I know the ways that I could lose. And so I'm like staying away from those. And yeah, so like I treat it serious, like life or death, like anime, like
Mhm.
Naruto, like tuning exams. You can't underestimate anyone just by the way they look, because
Yeah.
this might be the end of your story.
Definitely, definitely that, man. Well, August 30th, man, UFL 5, you get your chance to show out again and win some money, and
Yes, sir.
enjoy, enjoy that, you know what I mean? Enjoy like I think it's more of like the enjoyment of actually competing for a lot of people, especially early on in your career. All the best to you. And yeah, man, we'll speak soon again, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk.
Man, I appreciate you for even wanting to have an interview with me, man. Thank you.